Welcome to CRF Global. This is the Test and Measurement Lab, and I'm Ryan Fergus. I'm going to teach you how to add a configuration to your measurement. However, first of all, what we have to do is we have to create the configuration. And to start that, we need to go to Setups, Configurations. In fact, before we even set up a new configuration, we should really import the lines or the correction factors that we need. So, like earlier, where we imported the limits, now what we want to do is import the correction factor. So since we're doing a CISPR22 test, what I want to do is I'll probably add a CBL, CBL611B. That's a bi-log antenna, which should cover 30 to 1 gig plus maybe a little bit more. So this is the file that's imported. It's recognized as a type bi-log. So if I just open that up, there we go. So the data that we have here, it's specified in dB units, and it's given us the title. It hasn't brought in the calibration information or whoever calibrated it. So really, as you import these files, you really should manually insert the information. There is a space for adding measurement uncertainty as well, because that can go to the configuration where it will create a bill of measurement uncertainties for you. So we already had introduction to the other fields earlier on through test and measurements. The same principle applies here. So given the fact that we don't have any calibration information for this, I'm going to remove that. What we can do with these factors is that when you import it, it'll import as a free space factor, but the reality of it is that we can actually add more types of factors to this one correction. As we know, some tests actually have the capability for horizontal and vertical, where they require separate factors. So what we've done is we've built that in so that one factor contains all the information that we need. And then we choose at test time what we're actually doing, a free space or a horizontal vertical measurement. Okay, so now that we've got this factor, the antenna, up to from 30 to 1 gig, what I want to do is I want to bring in some cables as well. So let's see what we have in our list. So basically, this list of factors and lines that I've been showing you have actually come from lots of different places. What I've found is that, well, you can take a guess where attenuation files and transducer files are coming from, but it can also it can come from multiple components, or not components, but multiple types. So we can read RTF, we can read text, we can read CSV, we can read tab delimited files. The only thing that we can't read directly are Excel files directly. However, you can copy and paste those parameters if you want to. Perhaps I'll do a demonstration of that a little bit later. But first of all, we're looking for some cables. So 30 to gig, I'm sure I must have an N-type cable in here somewhere. SME. Okay, 15 feet green N. Okay, let's import this and have a look at this. So it's come through as a cable. It's 30 megs to 18 gigs. Perfect. So that's one part, or one cable that's now imported. What you also can do is you can put serial numbers and other data as well into the title. Okay, so we've got the cable, and perhaps we want to add a preamplifier. Let's close this. Perhaps we want to add a preamplifier. So we have a CPA preamp. Yeah, okay, so here's a CPA 9231X. I guess the X just denotes another model type, so I'll import that. And okay, so that's good to 2 gigahertz preamp. Okay. field. Okay, so we've got a cable, we've got and we've got the preamplifier. Okay, so do we have anything else? I guess you could, in most cases you might have two cables, but I'm just going to assume that we've got the one here, which is probably sufficient. Okay, so let's go back to the configuration area. Okay, so we shall right click and hit the new configuration. So if we just open up this config, as we can see, we've got our lines, we have a bilog cable and a preamp. So if we just drag up the antenna, it immediately adds onto the central panel, and it creates your path. So the path name is basically CBL611B, and then we shall add the cable, 15 feet green N, and the preamplifier. So basically our path is these three objects. We're assuming graphically that the RF is coming on the left and that the receiver or the measurement instrument is on the right. So now what I want to do is I want to look and see what the properties are over here. So if I right click and I do properties, I can see that I have a preamplifier and its values. And if I right click on the green end, yeah, I also have my cable, so the cable's imported correctly, and the CBL antenna. Yeah, okay, so all three factors are there. Now if I want to see the path values, then I just right click to the right of any of the objects, and there we go. So if you notice, what we have is we have a starting frequency of around 10 megahertz and a stopping frequency of 18 gigs. However, the path only includes 2030, so it starts at 30 megs and it ends at 1 gig. So this path is good for the QP measurement. Okay, and it shows us there CBL plus 15 feet green N plus the CPA. So basically what happens is that all the parameters are added together, and because the CPA is a preamp, it's actually subtracted. Okay, so the fundamental part is that we have the QP region of the measurement. Now what we want to do is we want to add a band to this. The bands are basically just the parameters of the test that are closest associated with the CISPR testing. So I've already got some predefined ranges inside here, and let's see. Okay, so we've got CISPR CD. That's what we're looking for here, CISPR CD. So it says 30 megs to 1 gig, and if you look up the top, it's now populated the range at 30 megs to 1 gig, and the path is now CBL611B. That's great, I say. So that's really all we do to create the configuration, to create the parameters. It's now done. So what we then would do is we then attach that in to the measurements. So if we go to available and we look at the one we created earlier, we open it up and we add a configuration. Now we have new configuration copy 1. Perhaps we should go back and change that title. Right, so I'm going to change that title and I'm going to call it CISPR 22 at where's the at symbol? At 10 meters. Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's only 10 meters because we're using free space here. It could be we could use that for 3 meters as well. Now it just so happens I'm specifying it for 10. In fact, you know what? I think in that case what we'll do is, because it's free space, we'll just call it CISPR22. Okay, let's go back to the available measurement, and let's add the configuration. So now it says CISPR22. So we only had one configuration, so we can only add the one in here. Now, miraculously, what we see here is the range is 30 megs to 1 gig, path CBL116B, and CISPR22, bands CISPR C and D. Okay, so now if I just double click on CISPR CD, this takes us to the point of where we've now got our settings. So I won't talk about the settings just now, but now you can see that this test should be able to run from 30 MHz to 1 GHz. Later, what we'll do is we'll discuss the settings and then we'll run a test. Thank you for watching.